Hey guys, this is Charles from C-Van Lawn Care. Just coming to you today. I want to talk about something that is an experience I dealt with this season. It is now January 1st, 2022. This last season, I decided I wanted to buy out another lawn care business. It was a small business. I found it advertised on the Facebook Marketplace for sale. The guy wanted, like $50,000 for the business. Well, went and talked to him. There was a lot of red flags that I just didn't pay attention to. He had like 50 clients, and I asked him why he was selling his business, and he said that somebody had stolen all of his equipment and he couldn't do it anymore. So I asked him to see the list of clients, and he showed me a notebook with everybody's names, addresses, phone numbers, how much he was charging them, everything, So I told him, I said, okay, you have no equipment. What's your bottom dollar you'll take? And he told me what his bottom dollar was, which was very low. That should have been an indicator, but I didn't pay attention to it because I was excited about buying out a new lawn care business. Adding to mine, growing my size, I was seeing, dollar signs. And I made mistakes. Well, trying to play it smart, I told him that I wanted to go with him around to speak to all of his customers. I would reassure them that for the rest of this season they would stay at the same amount they were paying. And he was fine with that. So we started going around to customers, talking to customers, and I was talking to the customers, asking what they were paying, and the like. Well, then, when we got back into my truck to go to the next customer, he informs me, hey, let's just go talk to him, make it quick, don't go into detail, that can all be taken care of later. He says, I've already got the amounts written down that you're paying. I said, okay. Big mistake. That killed me. Well, went through. I didn't get to meet with all the customers, but I met with a large majority of them. There was some that weren't home or whatever, and deal went through. I bought the business, bought it for what I thought was less than pennies on the dollar. I thought I got a really good deal. Well, then I go back around to meet with all the customers, to set them, tell them, look, this is going to be your schedule when I show up to mow you. This is what he says you're paying. And I was fine with if they were paying monthly, because where I live at, there's a lot of people on fixed incomes, and I was fine with that. Are you paying weekly? Are you paying bi-weekly? Are you paying cash? Are you paying check? I haven't got into the credit card on file yet, which eventually I plan on moving that, but I'm not at that point. Well, then I get to finding out that the guy's a druggie. All right, one of the indications that should have told me something was wrong, this guy hadn't been in business 6 months and already had 60 customers. I just thought, okay, maybe he does good work. Didn't look into it in detail, didn't check the guy's background, none of this. Well, come to find out, like I said, he's a druggie. Mowing one yard, he was mowing because earlier in the year, driving down the road, he ran into their car and he didn't have insurance. So he agreed to mow their yard for the rest of the year for free, so they didn't file a claim on him. Another family, he agreed to mow their yard for the rest of the year for a mower. They gave him a mower to mow their yard. Another family, the guy worked at Dairy Queen, he was mowing their yard for free food at Dairy Queen. None of this does me any good. None of this is where I'm at. Now, some of the yards that, he had made these oddball deals with, such as the one where it was the auto accident, I went ahead and mowed their yard the rest of the season. The other ones I had to drop. Then as I get to going to more and more of these yards, talking to people, I find out some of these customers had fired him because of his work. Some of the addresses he gave me that people weren't home when we went were empty houses. So when it all came down to it, I ended up keeping maybe 20, 25 of these yards. Some of the customers that had fired him, I managed to pick back up for myself after speaking with him. So with what I kept, it will definitely pay for itself. One of the big things I ran into dealing with his customers, which, as I said, I agreed to keep him at the same price he was charging for the rest of the year at least. One of the big things I ran into was he didn't know how to bid his yards. Basically what he was doing was letting them tell him what they were going to pay him. He had one yard that was, probably 3/4 of an acre. He was mowing it for $20 a mow. Can't do that. That don't even pay for the mowing of the yard. Another yard, well, several yards, he let them set not only the price, but he also let them set the schedule. A lot of these yards, he had agreed to, when they call, or bi-weekly, things of this nature. In the lawn care industry, I'm sorry, but in this area, bi-weekly will kill you. When they call, I don't care where you're at, that is just it's not doable. It throws your whole schedule off. The bi-weekly where I live at, I live in the Midwest. I live in Missouri. And the grass grows here. We get a lot of weeds. Where I live at, there's not a lot of manicured lawns. It's just a lawn. They can get overgrown and out of hand. If you get a rain this week, but it's not scheduled to mow till next week, it is way out of control. You go to mow it, and you're wearing your equipment out. Dulling your blades, now you got to stop and change blades, which throws your schedule off, and that's another thing, figuring out how to fit these bi-weeklies into your weekly schedule. If you can't fit them in there, you're going to lose them. Now, I took his bi-weeklies, and I agreed to mow them bi-weekly for the rest of the year, but I told them if they chose to stay with me, that next year they were going to have to go weekly. I talked to everybody that was way underpriced, and I let them know, look, I'm going to mow you for the rest of the year at this price. Next year, this is what your price will be if you stay with me to get them back where they should be. And they had no problem with it. They knew they were being underpriced. They knew this. They had no problem with their prices going up to meet the standards where I live at next year. But part of that, I do good work. I knew once I got into their yards and I cut their yards, I knew from that point on, if they just didn't want to mow themselves and if they wanted their yard to look good, I knew I was going to keep those yards. And that's what happened. So I've got to say, the experience was a bitter experience. My wife, she tried to pull her hair out to no end because my wife helps me in what I do. She does a lot of my paperwork for me. She sends out a lot of my emails and receipts and things like that. She takes care of all of this. Well, she went with me around to talk to all of these customers as I was putting them on schedules and getting price mounts and the such. And she was just aggravated. I mean, I was aggravated, but I was trying to keep from showing it. She was very openly aggravated. So I've got this to say. I'm not going to tell you don't go out. and buy a lawn care business that already exists, I'm not going to tell you to do it. But what I am going to tell you is you've really, really got to look at things. Another thing this guy did is some of these accounts, after I purchased them from him, next thing you know, I'm going around and he's mowing them. And I asked him, I said, what are you doing? He said, oh, well, they tried to get a hold of you and couldn't get a hold of you. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's not how this goes. They never tried to get a hold of me. You went back to them. I know you did because my phones never rang with their number. I always answer my phone. So that was another thing I had to deal with. You've got to know, you got to do research and find out the integrity and the character of the person you're looking at buying out or taking on as a partner or anything. You've got to look at how long he had his clients. You've got to figure out truly what he's charging his clients and not what he's telling you he's charging them. You've got to find out how often they're being mowed, whether they're happy with his work, whether they're willing to let you come in and improve on his work. There's a lot of things that come in. Don't ever take them at their word. The reality of the situation, most people that are trying to sell a lawn care business, there's something bad going on. Some, not always. Sometimes they may just want to retire. Sometimes they may want to do another field. Like I've got a friend here where I live at. He had a lawn care business. It was a very successful lawn care business. He started taking the money from his lawn care business and putting it into buying houses, renovating the houses, and flipping the houses. He did really good at it. So he started a real estate agency, and his real estate agency done really good. He realized he could make more money easier sitting behind a desk drinking coffee and selling houses. He decided he didn't want to mow anymore. So he sold his lawn care business. That's an exception to the point. And then, as I said, you got people that are just looking to retire. You know, there's legitimate reasons for it. But as a whole, you've really, truly got to look into it. If it's too good to be true, it is. Don't just jump out there and bite the bait. What should have been a big red flag indicator to me was the guy said somebody stole all of his equipment, he couldn't do it. Okay. I didn't know why somebody would have stolen his equipment, but come to find out, they didn't actually steal his equipment. He still had it, he just moved it. He moved it from his property to somebody else's, because I actually met him at his house. I scheduled a meeting there and pick him up, and we go around. I thought, well, okay, he had everything stolen in his truck, everything, so I would pick him up and we'd go around. Well, my pitfall. So, guys, be careful if you're buying out another lawn care business. It's dangerous. It's not always going to be bad. There's always something to be salvaged from it if you do it. But you're going to lose a lot of them. Now, all the YouTube videos I've watched of people talking about buying out accounts, I've never heard anybody say they kept every customer. I knew I was going to lose some of these customers for various reasons, but I didn't realize I was going to lose as many as I did. But as I said, I kept 20 or so of them, and for the price I paid for it, it was well worth it. So guys, if you found what I told you here informative, please go to my channel, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, because I'm going to be bringing a lot more content as it's winter time now, so I'm going to be doing a lot of videos, review videos, things of this nature, because of course I'm not mowing yards. I can't bring you lawn mowing right now, but in the spring and all of that, I'm going to start bringing you the lawn mowing. I won't be bringing you lots of overgrown yards because I tend to get a lot of those cleanups. So guys, hit that thumbs up, subscribe, stay with me for this journey.